Welcome to the Iconic Podcast, an extension of the Iconic magazine. I am your host, Jen Spiegel, the CEO and editor-in-chief. These weekly interviews with industry moguls will provide you with the inspiration, insights, and lessons for how to grow an iconic life and business for yourself. Be sure to check out the latest digital or printed copy of the magazine to view more actionable steps, expert advice, and personal stories to support you to spark and grow and scale your business as an entrepreneur. I am so glad you're here. Welcome to the Iconic Podcast and a really special edition with someone who has deeply impacted me. Oh, I'm already getting emotional. Who I am so deeply honored to share with you. I'm sure many of you know Jess King. Many know her as an instructor for Peloton, but she is also so many other things. There's so many other facets to who Jess is. She's a founder and a mother and a wife and an advocate. And I really was looking forward to this conversation with her and to bring this conversation forward to each of you listening today, because what I am really curious about is the woman behind this success, the woman behind this incredible journey, the woman behind so many different passions. And this is really where I am looking forward to going with you today, Jess. Thank you so much, firstly, for being on the cover of the magazine and just having so much fun with you in New York and then being here today.
Yes, how can you thank me for that? Thank you. What an honor. I'm excited to be here. And I'm also very intrigued by these types of questions, these introspective questions, because we don't often pause to really think how and why and what's working and what makes us. So I appreciate the opportunity to take that moment for myself and share with all of you.
Good. Friends, you can't see the setting, but Jess right now has this like gorgeous nature behind her. It just looks bright and beautiful. And so I just feel like the setting is right, because I imagine, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine being known as a Peloton instructor, people can almost make that your identity. And I am certain your identity far stretches and outreaches that title. And so that's really what I'd love to start with. Like, who is Jess? If we strip away those titles, that visibility, who are you at the core and the essence and the truth of who you are as a woman?
I feel like my answer to that is still who I am inside of Peloton as well. The most vulnerable and stripped I am is when I'm teaching and on the bike and on the tread, and in that moment, in front of a camera, in front of a live audience, creating an experience almost in any way. I think that's when I am aligned. That's when my coherence starts happening, when I'm like, this is who I am in this moment. I think moments outside of that for me are quite messy. I'm always just working to figure out how to get back to that moment, because I feel like that's the most powerful version of who I am. But some days I don't access that power, or I don't necessarily show up with it. And I bring that authenticity into that moment as well. So it's when people know me on the bike or know me from the Peloton platform, and then they say, I feel like we're friends. We are. Like, if you get me, then like I'm your girl on the dance floor, in the real world, in life too. Just like I'm sharing with you, and I can immediately assume the best of intentions on your end when you say something like that, and just acknowledge that like we share a vibration, and that's a connection. That's so dope. That's what it's all about.
I'm a fangirl of you on the Peloton app. I don't feel like I do anybody else's classes, maybe sometimes, but not very often. And you know what's interesting, and what I can reflect back to you is that authenticity, is that realness to you that has been my attraction. Also your music. I have the same love of house music, but the way you speak to, it feels like every one of us individually, like I literally feel like it's you and I. You're talking to that camera and looking at me on that bike, and we all come to that bike with something, whether we're having a great day and we're there just to move our bodies, or whether we're working through something in our life and we just need to move our bodies to move the energy. My experience of you is every time I spend time with you on the platform, you say the right thing at the right time. It is so powerful.
That is intentional. It's by design, but also by a consequence of it not being performative, in that I'm speaking to what I'm feeling in that moment. And I'm also coexisting with a life that is very rich in many different themes of struggle, healing, suffering, communication. Essentially, I'm very engaged and interactive with my humanity and our shared collective human experience. I see and experience the outside world around me, but I'm deeply fascinated by that inner landscape. And I am constantly dancing with mine, conversing with mine, wanting to make what is uncomfortable better for myself, whether it's in the lane of relationship or how I'm treating my body or caring for myself, my habits, my patterns. Or am I showing up for my values, which for me are things that are intentional and stated, and there's boundaries, and it makes my life very easy and very clear. And those values aren't very unique. It's things like integrity, things like energy, and I value healing. I value connection, deep connection, not shallow shit. Like I want to be let in to my friends' lives and then my people's lives. Like, let me into your heart, what's going on in your head. Like, there's parts of friendship that I'm not great at. My consistency is not very there. I have ADHD, so like I might look at a message, think I responded and don't, or I'm overwhelmed and I just can't in the moment. But like that being said, I am also navigating a very neurodivergent mind, a very neurodivergent life expression
Mm.
where systems aren't necessarily set up for me to thrive. And I think that is such a common intersection for people where we're just like, man, I don't feel like I fit in, or like I'm the weirdo, or like I actually hate myself. I speak terribly to myself, or I really want something in life. Like I have goals I want to attain. I could talk about it all day, every day. I find ways to create the experience in myself to take whatever I'm thinking or going through or whatever might be coming through me in the moment. Sometimes I say things and I'm genuinely tapped into this leaderboard to what people might be feeling. Simultaneously, a certified life coach because I wanted to understand, how do you create a container for someone to feel vulnerable and then move them into this empowered perspective, this shift within themselves. That's not me telling somebody, giving them advice, but really, how do I deepen their own experience and
Mhm.
understanding of their life? Because from that place of awareness, then we can start to be more empowered to make those changes, those shifts, and start to transform and look at the things where we're stuck. That's my shit. Obviously, I'm ranting about it, but like, call me any day. You want to talk about matters of the heart, the things that you're going through, let's talk about it. And you want to move about it, let's move about it, because I have experienced and believe with all of my heart and soul that when you combine your body, you shake vibration and you move with bringing in this intention and this ability and permission to feel your feelings, you're operating and you're evoking all three, mind, body, and spirit, to move towards this wanting to feel different, wanting to get to the other side, wanting to love yourself again, wanting to forgive. Hopefully, is the subcurrent of what's motivating you. Punishing yourself is not going to motivate you. It's just not, I'm not interested in that. I think we are punishing ourselves all the time. A lot of us come to fitness and come to life coaching and come to their knees sometimes because they want to feel differently and to create a new neural connection, which essentially is going to create a new truth for yourself when you're doing it and moving on a cellular level to raise that vibration and that frequency and start to shift those patterns of thinking. And then you're doing it while you're climbing this big mountain, this big hill. You can't help but experience a new truth, a new version of yourself. You have to become someone new in that moment. And to be a person in this world that gets to lead people through that experience. When you say to me, "You've actually changed my life," or a version of what you said, like, "I've deeply touched, had a profound impact in some way," and I do hear that a lot, and I never tire from hearing of it because that is the mission. That is the mission. That is my life's purpose, to wake people up to the power and the magnificence of who we are and truly be a guide, be a light in that space. That's really cool.
It is. Something came up for me, and I haven't thought about it since my daughter said this, but I'd love to open it up because what I'm sensing is there's been times in your life, and I feel like we could all relate to this in some level, where we have felt misunderstood, whether that is, our neurodivergent mind, or we're artistic and creative, like we're just outside of the box, which I hope most of us want to go play outside of the box. But my daughter recently, she's very creative, very unique. There's something very special about her, but she's at this age now where most girls want to be the same. Like they just want to fit in, and she's not quite fitting in. And so she's having a difficult time because she said, "Everybody calls me weird, mom. Everybody's calling me weird." I don't always know how to respond. I think I'm too close. It's my daughter. But I just would wonder, what would you say to your younger self, or to my daughter, or to someone listening right now that's like, "Yeah, I feel you, Jess. I just don't quite fit in to the structures of whether it be my career or what I think I'm supposed to fit into. I just don't fit. How do I celebrate that? How do I express it? And what do I do about people who think I'm quote unquote, like literally the kids are calling her weird?"
What makes you weird is gonna make you millions of dollars.
Yes.
It's whatever makes you weird is what's gonna make you money. Honestly, and I saw this quote, I could look up who said it, but I can't remember. I bought the t-shirt, but it says, "I'm one of the millions of weirdos just like you who don't fit in." We think by not fitting into the homogeny that we see around us, or to the ordered structure of the way things are, that ultimately is hijacking our sovereignty of some kind. Like, we don't wanna operate that way. We would like to honor our and, oh man, I could go on forever and ever, but learning about yourself and understanding, yeah, actually, I don't thrive in that kind of system or in that kind of relationship where someone can't acknowledge me, and I just need to be acknowledged. I know that about myself so I can communicate that. And then understanding how you operate and what you need, and doing it from a place of non-judgment, and owning it and celebrating it no matter where you fall on the neurodivergent spectrum, or just in the sense of feeling different. We've been told somehow that that is something wrong. And in fact, the people telling us that only fear it. Our brains operate with many more wavelengths running through it at the same time. The pattern recognition, the puzzle pieces, the ability to know things and sense things, like, people don't like that because it makes them uncomfortable. I am, believe it or not, which I'm sure a lot of people can believe it, but like, I don't make the best first impression. A lot of people will take my class first, and this might be old data, but then not take my class again for like years, and then eventually find their way back to me and then never leave again, because I say things that people don't want to hear. They're not ready to hear it. They're not interested in going,
Right.
who am I to tell them something that I love them? This person's full of shit. So I totally get it. And I've been misunderstood my whole life. But the one thing that I haven't misunderstood was myself. Just keep swimming until you find your people. There's millions of weirdos out in the world. And I found a very small group of individuals to rock with growing up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But when I say it was a small group of individuals, we were a group of 5 dancers. And we left Myrtle Beach every weekend to find culture and choreographers and to grow and expand beyond. And we always were plotting how we were going to get out. Like, there's this sense of like, we have something big inside of us. And the funny thing is all of us became quite successful. You'd recognize some in movies, you'd recognize some in touring for other dancers, owning dance conventions now, like, pretty interesting. And then here's the fun fact about these 5 dancers I'm telling you about. I'm sure a lot of your listeners will remember this, the meme that went viral saying, "This is hip hop." Do you remember that? That dance teacher going, "This is hip
This
hop."
is hip hop. Yes.
That was our dance teacher
No way.
growing up. Yes, Dina Rizzo. And guess what? She was the shit. She's what kept us cool. And we are all amazing dancers and amazing artists because guess what? She was fucking weird. Weird. And we loved her. We would get out of school where it was bright lights and no one cared and no one listened. And we go dance with her. And at like the age of 12, we were doing jazz numbers to like Marilyn Manson, Beautiful People, and like Gangster's Paradise, where half the group were nuns and the other half were like gangsters. It was just, that was not Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but we were.
Yeah.
And we were the weirdos and we won everywhere that we went. It wasn't easy. Like nobody had an easy time growing. That's the other thing too. No one is not having a hard time. Like all your friends, all the girls that they're all feeling some version of it. No one
Yes.
figured out.
No. And it's so interesting what you say because I relate to her on so many levels. And sometimes when you're close to someone and sharing advice or giving reflection, it's like your mom. I said to her, I said, what makes you unique and special? I craved that my whole life. Like I craved to be different. And I didn't understand why. It felt like rebellion for a lot of my life. Like, why am I trying to be different all the time? But if I saw somebody wearing something similar to what I was wearing, I'd immediately like put that away. And I said to her what I realized, when I was younger, I didn't have the awareness. Now I do that has led to the success that I've had. The more I celebrate my difference, my unique qualities, the rare air that I live in, the more I've been expressed and the more celebration and so on. And I said to her, it's not receiving that validation outside of yourself. It's so difficult at your age to understand that, but it's like always remembering you're not supposed to be like anybody else in this world where it feels very cookie cutter, at least to me. I see the internet and it just looks so much the same. So when I see someone like you, or I see someone like my daughter doing something unique and special and being expressed, it's like a turn on for me. I'm just like, yes, that's how I believe we're supposed to live and live a rich life because we're not holding ourselves back. We're allowing ourselves to be seen.
Totally. I would not be well if there wasn't a way for me to express myself. I wouldn't have survived growing up in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina if I didn't have dance class. If I
Right.
didn't have a way to go and put on Alanis Morissette and like move the energy or like take it and instead of having my brain just swirl around in you know, whatever her face said to me at school today, I would have it learning intricate tap patterns, right? Instead, I just bring it into meditative focus of some kind, ballet, breathing, like you're essentially mind training yourself. I think a lot of times we get super stuck in hard feelings because they take over. They're big feelings, toddlers now. So everything is just a big feeling,
Yes.
you know? But, I had really big feelings as a kid, real big. I relate to the rebellion and I'm very grateful that I had that channel to be able to express myself. I also was an avid and have always been an avid journaler. So I would express myself to myself. When you do that, I didn't know at the time as a kid, but essentially I'm acknowledging my feelings and then using the ability that we have to choose our thoughts, to choose to focus on something else. It wasn't until much later, until I got in my 20s, not even, I wouldn't call 20s emotionally intelligent. I wouldn't. 30s that I started to become more emotionally intelligent and be able to not need to have such an extreme expressive outlet sometimes that could be destructive and instead channel it again, had to be into movement. It will always be into movement. Meditation is great after I've moved and I can drop. But like for me, even if it's not fitness, like shaking, somatic movement, big breathing, twisting, like taking up space, like putting music on to do that, just like transcends the whole experience. Like it doesn't always have to be prescribed movement. we're limiting ourselves in so many ways by not activating the brain chemistry we need in order to think creatively about our lives and our problems when we're just stagnating. Like, you have to get to dopamine, which means you have to move through a few things, a few steps to get there. It's not just going to like show up, you know?
Over the last 20 years, I've noticed something. So many of you standing on the sidelines, curious about my world, curious about how I lead, create, mother, build, and live, but unsure of where to begin. And that's why I decided to open up and invite you into the iconic world. My Substack home and the most accessible way to step into my energy. It is for a space for the woman who has been watching, the woman who knows she's meant for more, and the woman who is ready to finally say, yes, I'm coming in. Inside, I share what I do not share anywhere else: the essays, ideas, style, beauty, interiors, the behind the scenes of building both Iconic Magazine and Becoming Iconic, and the life that I pour myself into. This is where you rise to the occasion, where your creativity wakes up, where inspiration becomes action, where you begin co creating your own iconic life and business, one intention at a time. And for those who choose to come in, you will also receive a physical copy of the magazine delivered to your door, early access to features, event invitations, and an intimate look into the evolution of everything that I am building. If you have ever wondered what it feels like to truly step into my world, the door is open. Join me inside the iconic world. The link is in the show notes. And this is where your next chapter begins. This is where you get access to the mind and spirit and expression of an editor-in-chief, a woman, and a founder like nobody else on the internet. What do you feel has been the most misunderstood part of you?
What I think the most misunderstood part of me is, at the crux of it, I have come across many types of individuals, and ultimately I can put them into two categories. The individuals who are tapped in to what is a magical spiritual life experience,
Mm-hmm.
to wanting to heal, to wanting to deepen relationships, to wanting to be good people, good patrons, good people in the world, to honor the light within them, to honor source. There are people who are like, yes, I know what you're talking about when you say that. And there are people who don't know what I'm fucking talking about.
Right.
Those people misunderstand me. And I've had to work very hard to get to a place where I can accept that. I
Oh.
can accept that those people are not yet ready and or will never be able to actually acknowledge me. So I think that it's misunderstood because I can become a pest. If you don't want to hear this, you won't like me because I don't shut up about it.
Thank goodness.
Right? So there are people who appreciate it. I can't help it. You know, it's not like I can help it. There are ways to refine this so that I do have access and do have reach and have become more inviting and relatable to other people. But I think that's ultimately my biggest misunderstanding. And then also to, I don't know what people see when they look at me. When you see me, who is she, this character? I don't really know, but I know that who people think she is and then who I am are very different people. And I think a lot of people are like, wait, what? You speak Spanish? You're Latina? Yes. Wait, what? You're married to a woman? Yes, I am married to you know, and it just goes on and on and on. Like, wait, just the expectation that the way that I present and then who I truly am, they're not the same.
Mm-hmm. But you know what the difference is too. It goes back to what you just said. It's the others who want to know you, the ones who look at the physical, even through the screen. Let's say they're doing a Peloton class. They're not actually seeking to really understand you or know you because that's not how they walk through their life. Then there's others like us who we get on the bike and I can't tell you how many times you brought me to tears. I mean, there was one time during COVID, I didn't get off the bike for an hour and a half. I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed because of one of your classes, and something inside of me had to be unleashed and it just had to be purged. And I felt so restricted during that time and so stuck in many ways. I don't even remember what you said or how you said it. I think it was just the whole experience. And that's the difference. It's the people who look at you and appreciate, like, you can sense when we're in your presence, you can sense there's depth. And I think that's another thing too, is when you are someone who appreciates depth, you're not going to attract surface level people. Or if you do, they're not going to get it and they're going to walk the other way.
Well, they come back. They come
Or
back.
they come back when they're ready.
A lot of times they come back when they're ready,
Yeah.
or a lot has changed in their lives. And maybe now our energy resonates, or maybe I changed.
Yep.
Maybe I became more refined in my approach, or maybe I resonated more in a fitness first class for somebody versus, house music. Like it really is like a science of how to find my people. But the one thing that is true is that when they find me, they don't leave.
No.
Story of you, it's like I almost take you exclusively. Like I tend to have that kind of unique audience in that way where it's like, well, the people you do have are obsessed with you.
Yes.
That's such an amazing thing. It's amazing.
It
Yeah.
must be amazing. And it's not obsessed where it's unhealthy. It's this like real attraction to your energy, just to knowing that I don't feel great in my body. I know if I go do a Jess King class and spend some time with her, the words that you express, the way you call us into our power, the way you call us out, matched with great music, matched with, just the high vibe you bring, I know I will be a different person on the other side. So much so that my husband sometimes says to me, can you just go do something like move your body? Because he knows the difference that's going to make to me. So you're right. It is almost like, dare I say, I don't like this word necessarily, but it's what's coming out as like a cult-like following. But I don't mean cult in a negative way. I mean like in a just this like super fan, because we know being in your presence makes us feel better, more grounded, more anchored. So yeah, that must feel amazing.
Yeah, I'll take it. But I really think the bigger reason is I do have great taste in music.
You do.
I really do. And so sometimes I could just not say anything, and I think it would be a similar experience too, you know? Oh, it's a
I
magical place. It's magic. We have magic fairy dust sprinkle on you, you know?
Let's actually just even go there for a second. I am so fascinated when you started to DJ. And again, it was just that example that you give to others of it's never too late. We can be fully expressed. We can be multi-passionate. And you started DJing. And it was so amazing to see you alive behind the records. And I believe you're going to start doing music. I don't know. I feel like I saw that somewhere on the internet, but where did that love of music come from? Is it the dance? Is it just always been there?
I think both.
Yeah.
Dance always being there. Music is just organized sound. And so, again, it takes my brain out of the monkey mind of thoughts that probably aren't very great and then gives it somewhere to go. And then when I focus on music, I get just crazy creative downloads. That's when it's
Yeah.
like I can process emotions or experiences or create new ones if I'm planning for something like the Jess King experience. It's just kind of where I go to access that source connection.
I guess I was a musician. I don't practice anymore. I went to an art school for music, and I always found it probably one of the world's most uncelebrated in many ways in this terms of like conceptualizing it this way, but it is an absolute miracle in life. There's 12 notes and 12 notes and billions and billions and billions of sounds. And to me, it's just so miraculous that we don't, yes, we feel it, but I think we neglect sometimes to realize this miracle that is available to us all the time and how it can completely transform your mood. If you just need a good cry, you can have a good cry. If you want to feel upbeat, you can feel upbeat. It's such a gift.
And notice that what makes each song different, it's not the notes, right? Because you're saying it's just 12 and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
The space between the notes.
Hmm.
When we are wanting to meditate or shift our focus into something else or connect, it's the breath, it's the space between the thoughts that nothing exists, yet everything exists. It's that moment in between. That's what makes those songs so magical, is how they decided to take the space between the notes.
Mm. Well, that was delicious. interesting because there's a theme this week for me of just desiring pause, because the pause is where you can have those great contemplations, ideas sparked, the truths show up. So when you say the space between, I feel like in music and in life and in conversation, those pauses, those moments is where we have the most clarity, not in the busy, not in the consumption, but in the stillness and quiet, even if it's just for a half a second.
Mhm.
Do you get a lot of pause?
I was just thinking about what a hypocrite I feel like right now. And it just no, because I think that is, like, the challenge for all of us. We've been trained and conditioned, and a lot of our brains are fixated and wired to be like, "What's next? What's next? What's next? Like, what do we do? What
Yes.
do we do?" I remember, like, for years, I was going to therapy, like, every other week, and it is, for years, the same lesson. Your nervous system needs rest. You need rest, moments of pause, slow down. Like, it was just didn't matter which kind of therapist or doctor I went to, it was, like, always the same message. I'm like, I didn't get it, and I still fight it. But there are moments of deep intention, even if I'm driving, just to focus my thoughts, control my thoughts. It's a moment where I'm being intentional and mindful and just focusing on breathing, focusing on being present. I think all of us can feel the moment your nervous system finally shifts. It feels like that little rain stick that moves right through you, or kind of like this weight that drops you down. Easy place is like when you go to acupuncture after like 7 minutes or whatever it is, you just like feel this thing. Going to sleep at night, moments where you stop stimulating and you just be, your nervous system will reset. I also get on a vibration plate. I like make sure to stimulate my vagus nerve. Like, I am working with other somatic rituals that don't require me to be still, because I'm always in motion, always commuting, but finding moments while I'm in motion to say, my new ritual is the first 10 minutes I get on the train, I'm not on my phone. I can eat mindfully and look out the window. I can listen to something, but I force myself to just be present for 10 minutes. So, like, creating these pockets in the day. It's not, here's what I'm going to do. It's more like, here's what I'm not going to do.
Yes. You know what's so interesting? I went through this whole journey myself because I am a high achiever. I love to be in it in life, in business, and I didn't understand how to rest. I really felt like I didn't understand my type of rest. And so I started thinking, well, it's sitting on the couch, just like binging a Netflix series. That's what everybody does. So I'm going to try that. And I remember feeling even more depleted getting up from that. Like that didn't actually give me the rest because it wasn't physical sitting rest that I was actually seeking. It was more the mental, emotional rest that I was seeking. So, very similar to you, it was actually about pulling away and what am I not going to do right now in order to give myself that mental, emotional rest, which is how I've learned to fill my cup. It's not necessarily physical for me. So it's really a powerful conversation because people listening in, I feel like that's one of the greatest ways to support ourselves is to decide what does that look like for you? What is it and what isn't a part of that and honoring it.
Right. Well, you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Your body always knows. The answer is always right there. Your spirit is just saying, like, ask me, ask me, ask me. What do I want? What do I like? Literally, just what do you need right now? What do you want? If you just close your eyes and take a deep breath, like, my body just told me I want back support. I want some more posture. I feel fatigued here. What else is it saying? I should have a sip of water. And I've been breathing super shallow. So I'm going to take some really deep diaphragmatic breaths. I've been holding tension in my shoulders. I feel that. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to maybe listen for a thought and then say, ask my body, what do you need from me right now? How can I love you? How can I support you? There is a response from me, whether I can sense what the response might be or I hear it. Now, I have been talking to myself for my whole life, and it wasn't until the last like maybe 10 years that I learned how to be nice. And I learned that I could be my best friend and that God channels through me. And like, that's how I connect to this really beautiful force and this love. That is not my default, thank you. It's not. I wake up a not nice person. I don't like it. For years, when Sophia and I first got together, I would wake up and just go, "Fuck," like, every single morning. And she was like, "I cannot start my day like that single day." And in my head, I still do that. That's just how I feel.
That's fascinating because I've just gone through this thing where I'm like, I cannot wake every single day and be like, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't sleep through the night. Oh my gosh, I have so much to do. Like, my very initial thought is not enoughness. And where does that sprinkle? And I am working avidly on that. But I will say more mornings than not, that is my sort of go to response. I wish it
Right,
to be
because
different.
what does she need to hear then? She's going, "Oh my god, you have so much to do." What does she need to know from you?
That's right. She needs rest and softness in the morning.
Let's pretend that the voice that wakes up and goes, "You're not enough. You have so much to do. It's not gonna be enough. You didn't sleep enough." Da, 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 da." Let's pretend it's not you. Let's pretend it's a doll version of
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
okay? Or a child version of you. She's harassing you because she's afraid of something. What does she need to be reminded of?
That's safe. She's built a beautiful life. She's the leader that can lead it.
Mhm.
Yes, just that gentle, soft reminder. But do you believe, and I'm so curious for your answer to this, do you believe that voice, is that something that will go away? Can we actually will that away? Or is it how we walk through it, how we talk through it? We just get better and better and better at that.
The solution is not to will it away, shut it up, or change it. The the invitation is to learn how to love it and return it to this loving place of home that you are, this vessel, this body that we get to live inside that has our nervous system running through it, that has our feelings inside of that, our mind, the whole life experience. When we have these parts of us, whether they're traumatized, whether you are aware that they are upsetting your life, but you are not truly certain as to why, because we had never stopped to ask. We
Mhm.
never turned towards it to say, okay, well, you obviously are a part of me. Why do you show up this way? Why do you treat me this way? What's happening? And when you get into this understanding of this little being and part of your wholeness, and you realize that they're really just crying out for you to love them, see them,
Yeah.
invite them, acknowledge that they're trying to keep you protected, but maybe they need updates because they were formalized when you were 4, when you were 6, when you were 11, you were 13. And here you've gone on to be this bad bitch in the world, and you never turn to this 4-year-old and say, "Well, let me update you." You don't have to wake up panicked anymore, although I do understand why you would wake up that way, because when you were 4, this used to happen every single morning. You'd wake up and it was just this type of charge or whatever it is, right? So
Right.
you understand, you're aware of why, the truth behind it, or the reason why the truth was created to keep you safe, what the underlying fear is. And how do you return to love? How do you repair that relationship? For me, abandonment was the real big one. It was like every relationship just played this story out constantly. Everybody always leaves me, they cheat on me, they whatever. I am not lovable was kind of like the bottom line. That I'd be in these relationships where the guy would be like, "Wow, you're this magical creature thing." And I'd be like, "Yeah." And then they'd understand what the experience of a magical, messy, uncontrollable creature. You can't control me. And then when they realized that wasn't an option, then I was no longer lovable. And that was just a bizarre thing to keep playing out over and over. Anyway, fast forward, I finally went to therapy to figure it out and was like, oh, right. So parents got divorced. This makes a lot of sense. Then my mom got divorced again. So another trauma. So it's just, okay, understanding why it played out. Here I am in this partnership with Sophia, and I'm getting triggered constantly because she's super independent. She's out there hanging out with people I don't know. And I was just constantly feeling insecure and uninvited and getting really ugly. Like, when somebody's like in shame and their
Mhm.
shame is acting out. And I was very expressive. I love a good rage-fueled, destructive expression. I did. Anyway, it was just, like, not cute. I was like, I'm too old for this shit. This is not cute. This is embarrassing. Go to therapy, get down to the bottom of it for myself, and when I finally met my 4-year-old self and asked her, "What do you want? How can I be there for you?" And when I said, "What do you want?" She goes, "I just wanna be invited. I just wanna be invited," and it clicked. It's like, right. Half the things I don't wanna even go to anyway. I just wanna know that you love me enough that I could go if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I said to her, "Let's do this experiment. Every time you leave the house, whether you're going to work or you're going somewhere that I have no business going, nor would ever go with you, can you invite me?" She looks at me crazy. I go, "And second thing, when I get really ugly like that, when I start a version of like pulling out my hair, I need you to hug me. I need you to actually put your arms around me and hug me and hold me because I'm not going to ask you to do it in the moment. And I need a version of like, I love you now, even if you chew your cheeks in the process, even if it's not real.
Hmm.
The human touch and the connection will shift my nervous system. The feeling of embrace and not being alone in that ugly moment radically changed my life. It transformed my life. And, it was the hardest thing for her to do. She would say, "I feel like I'm hugging a cactus,"
Oh,
and like,
yeah, makes sense.
why would I want to hug you? You just like cursed me out, or whatever. And I'm like, I get it. I get it. I'm not well. That's our like running joke. I'm not well. It was like, I'm out of bodied here. I'm a 4-year-old in this moment. And this is what, when people say, what's partnership? What's love? What's marriage?
Mhm.
Coming to your partner and saying, this is the most uncomfortable, unattractive, shameful piece of my human existence. And in order for me to shift out of healing it, it's going to require that you overcome your reaction to me in the moment and
Mm.
love me anyway in order
Right.
for me to believe and have the experience of it so I can then apply it to myself. I needed to be shown that I could be loved anyway. And once one person did it and continues to do it, it was like all the ammo I needed to say, okay, it is true. I can do that too. I am lovable.
To be able to express that, ask for it, be witnessed in it, and then be met with someone who's willing to do that hard work alongside of you, that's special. And I imagine having kids too close together
Oh, I'm a
amplifies
mom.
it.
I'm a
There are
mom.
little teachers, those kids, and they dig in the dirt in many ways. How has that been for you? How has it been for you and Sophia raising these two stunning, beautiful children together?
I think we'll have a better answer in retrospect. I think right now we're still so in it. Some days we feel like champions, like, wow, we did great. Or like, hey, we found time to connect, high five, or like, that was a good day. And then, it might be another week or two before we have that high five again. We're just like, wow, it has been the most insane, most uncomfortable, most disconnected she and I have been from ourselves and one another. And I don't know if we fully anticipated that. I don't
Mhm.
think we could have understood the density of what it meant to become a parent until it just kind of like dropped into our living room. We woke up, we're like, holy shit, there's people that live in this house. We had a great relationship. We had a great life. And we deeply believe that it's possible to have that again.
You will.
Look, every parent understands there is this other side of it that's like complete awe,
Mhm.
complete, like so humbled to be able to witness and have an impact. God, I hope I don't fuck it up. When I do, I hope it's not that bad or we can recover from it or like whatever it is. But like the privilege of being able to, like, I've done so much work to undo the patterns that were handed and inherited onto
Mhm.
me. This is like the ultimate test is like, okay, let's see the work every day. The work is
It's
the work.
raw. I
And
don't know how else to say it. It's like it's just so raw. And beautiful and frightening. It's such a beautiful thing. When you think of your kids older, what do you hope for them? Like, what do you desire for them?
I don't know, I got this like Lisa Frank image in my mind, but like imagine turning on a faucet and like rainbow flows out of it, like the most beautiful, magnificent rainbow. I want their life force to feel like that through their body. I want them to feel like they are constantly breathing in a beautiful life experience and exhaling into trusting the world and releasing their expression and, love out in the world. That's happiness, joy, peace. Like, I just want to see that flow through them. I love watching them move. Their bodies are just so fascinating to see how they adapt and grow. That part is really cool.
It is, isn't it? I just deeply appreciate you. I'm so grateful to have had time with you in person during the photo shoot and grateful just to be in conversation with you. Like, this just feels so good to my spirit. And the connection you have to yourself, but not just to yourself, but to the world. Like, that's what's really coming through for me today as I witness you and listen to you. You're so connected to self, aware. It's like this personal responsibility and accountability, but yet it's not so focused on self that you're not looking out in ways in which you can enhance and enrich the world that you get to touch. And I find that just such a beautiful thing to see. So thank you for being who you are.
Thank you for seeing me, giving me this platform to talk and peel back the layers a little bit. This has been really wonderful connecting with you, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Me too. Me too. I can't either. I feel like I would love you to guide the audience. Like, where would you love them to come play with you? I can't imagine someone not knowing who you are, but let's imagine that. Where would they go and have the best experience of Jess King? Where would you love them to come and say hi and thank you for your words? What's the best playground for them?
Definitely come to Peloton and take a class. That is a great playground. The second best would be social media of any kind. Jess King on Instagram. I think it's Jess King NYC on TikTok. I'm still more of a voyeur on TikTok than I'm a creator, but I'm getting there. My new focus mindset goals is to create more than I consume, which means I'll have to create a lot more. If you really want to get into the life coaching, I do have a wellness practice. It's called mindful3.com, or 3 or 4 times a year, I lead small group coaching sessions, and you can find that at thoughtfulcoaching.com. That's really fun. That's where we get to dive into all this stuff. 6 weeks, me, a handful of people, and talking about things like forgiveness as a superpower,
So good. And
So you
this
saw
is
me on the cover of Iconic.
yes.
See? Hello?
Yes. Friends listening in, when you go to Instagram specifically, that's my favorite place to watch Jess and consume Jess. It's all linked in her bio as well. So the Mindful 3 and Peloton. So a great place to go. I am just so looking forward to watching what you do in 2026 and beyond. I am grateful to know you. I'm grateful to celebrate you. I'm grateful to learn through you. You are a blessing. I just wish you the absolute best.
Thank you so much. And this is the start of something, not the end. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm glad to know you as a woman in this world, and I'll see you, our paths will cross soon.
Thank you so much for your time and presence with us. I would love to nudge you now to respond to the generosity of this podcast by leaving a review and sharing this episode. Please tag the guest and myself as well so more people can be served. Our latest issue of the magazine is now out and linked below for you for your convenience. And if you're interested in this incredible PR and visibility opportunity, we've linked that below for you as well. Now, let's go make it a great day.